The newer Assassin's Creed games have been very hit or miss with the community, but even if you like the games or hate them, you do have to admit that they are very impressive games. Whether you're exploring ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, or the British Isles. When we say newer games, we're going to be covering the three newest games from when this video releases: Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. All three of these games are very similar in gameplay, and they all have adapted the new RPG style of gameplay that Origins introduced back in 2017. This new system allows for Ubisoft to do some good things and bad things, like making paid skins a big part of the system. It does suck, but they don't force any microtransactions down your throats. There are other things you can buy that will give you materials that you could find while playing. That just takes away from the whole experience if you do end up buying them. We were thinking about doing a point system that we can compare the games with, but it is much simpler to just describe what each game has and tell you which one we prefer. As we said before, all of these games are very similar to each other. It is good to know that each game did build on the mechanics of its previous entry, but some things in each game aren't also great either. Yes, we do have to say that we enjoyed our time in all three of these games, and we are going to start this video off by telling you what each game is about. Starting off with Assassin's Creed Origins, it puts you in the shoes of Bayek, who is a Magi to the Pharaoh of Egypt. The game has you exploring ancient Egypt, and the story is about Bayek getting revenge on the Order of the Ancients, who were responsible for killing his son. The second game in this new style is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This game puts you in the shoes of either Alexios or his sister Cassandra. You're pretty much a nobody at first, exploring ancient Greece. The game has you hunting down an ancient cult called the Cult of Cosmos, who are trying to take over every aspect of the world at that time. The newest game in the series, as of this video, is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The game starts off in Norway as a Viking named Eivor. You and a group of Vikings set sail to England, where you are tasked with unifying all the different colonies in England against the Order of the Ancients. Each game is pretty unique, but we do have to say that they all feel very similar, but that could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you enjoy that type of gameplay. The first thing we're going to be talking about are the game's exploration and their open worlds. All three of these games have massive worlds that you can explore, and they also have DLC that adds even more to each game. Origins probably has the smallest world of the three games, but it is my favorite of the three to explore. It's literally Egypt. What more could you ask for? Yes, that game does get a little repetitive while all the desert areas, but it is Egypt. They couldn't have made it any better than it already is. If ancient Egypt interests you at all, this is the game for you. Odyssey has the biggest world of the three games. Do keep in mind that 30% of it is water, so it isn't as big as it looks, but it is massive. It is the only game that we didn't explore almost to its fullest because it would have taken a very long time. There's a ton of variety in each area, and it just has an amazing world. It's not as fun to explore as Origins though. Valhalla is a hard one to talk about since the world just looks incredible. It definitely feels small when you look at the map, but when you look at all the locations you can go to, it starts to feel a little overwhelming. It definitely perfected the map system with it not being as cluttered, so it is the most fun to try and find everything the game has to offer. So to determine which game has the best exploration, we are probably going to say that Odyssey has it, since the world is so large and there's just so much to explore. Plus, its DLC areas are absolutely stunning if you've played them before. When it comes to the stories of the three games, there's one that comes out on top. Each game has a good story, so if you're wondering which one you should play, then just look at the setting and see which one you prefer. Origins has an amazing story. The characters in it didn't feel thrown in, and the side quests feel very crafted. Ubisoft actually took an extra year to focus on this game, and it definitely paid off. A lot of work was put into this game, and it is totally worth playing for the story alone. Even the DLCs have great stories if you beat the main story and want more. Odyssey is a very odd game when it comes to its main story. The game is a long one, and the story is actually pretty good. It does have a lot of slow moments, but the characters make it interesting enough to push through the whole thing. The DLC stories definitely make up for the main story, especially the Atlantis DLC. Valhalla's story is not as good as Origins, but it is better than Odyssey's. It does have a lot of slow moments, like Odyssey, but it feels like you are making a difference in the world. The side quests are also very good, but the newer side quests aren't, since they are considering this game to be a live service title. We do have to warn you, the main quest takes at least 60 hours on average to complete. When it comes to both side quests and story, we're going to say that Origins has the best missions out of the 3 games. Not only do they feel different, but the ending is actually one of the best in the series. It is a must play if you enjoy story games. Comparing the combat and stealth of the 3 games is actually pretty easy. To put it bluntly, the games got better as they came out. Ubisoft definitely learned how to make the games better and better every year from its previous entry. Origins has the most basic combat system that you could see. You can go into a situation with your sword swinging, or you can use your hidden blade to take the enemies out silently. Do keep in mind that not all enemies can be defeated immediately with the hidden blade, which makes the experience for stealthy players kind of difficult at times. The combat is pretty simple. Odyssey is the game that changed up the combat system entirely. Not only were the mechanics tuned to be better, but there were a ton of different abilities for both melee combat and bow combat. It made for a ton of different playstyles that you couldn't really do in Origins. Odyssey is definitely a step up from the previous game before it. Valhalla has the best combat of the 3. Not only did they add satisfying finishers to the game, but they also added dismemberment. This system made the game a million times better and is totally worth playing if you enjoy satisfying combat. You also have a lot more freedom when it comes to weapon options, because you can even dual wield shields in the game. What more could you want? Valhalla's combat is great because Ubisoft listened to the community, and it has some of the most satisfying combat in the entire Assassin's Creed series. There are probably more things we can compare among these games, but we feel that these are by far the most important aspects of the newer Assassin's Creed genre that Ubisoft has created. We do hope that the next game learns from its mistakes from these 3 games and takes the best parts of each one in consideration. Let us know down in the comment section below which of these 3 Assassin's Creed games is your favorite. You might like the story of Origins, the exploration of Odyssey, or even the combat of Valhalla. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, maybe consider subscribing since it does help get our content out to more people. We have a gaming podcast if you are also interested in that, and we have a Discord where we talk to our subscribers and have them give us feedback on our content. All links in the description, and thanks for watching.